So here's a first draft, and I'm sure there's a few players that you've got in your side that I haven't got in my side, and I'm sure there'll be a few players that I'm actually going to buy in the next few weeks, but these are the players that made it into my side right now. I'm sure over the next few weeks I'll lose a 0.5 here and I'll make a 0.5 million there, and then be able to tinker around my side when I feel like some of these players aren't worth the money, when I'm comparing them to others that are cheaper or a bit more expensive. Maybe I go for a more expensive one and downgrade in another position, but this is how I'm looking right now. And as you can see, we've got the free hit wildcard, bench boost and triple captain there. If you've not seen, we were allowed to use all of them chips before round 19, and then we get them all given back to us in game week 20. A lot of us just wait till the back end of the season when we got the blanks and the double game weeks to use them then. I'm using them elsewhere, which will be interesting to the trip strategy over the next few weeks, but right now I've not really got one. I did try to build a squad with bench boost in mind to get on with, but I didn't feel like it was worth it right now. Maybe in the next few weeks as I tinker along, I'll be able to find a squad that does fit that, and I can bench boost this one. But when I was building it, I felt like the squad would look a bit weak after like game week 3, 4, 5. I didn't feel using a bench boost was well worth it. Maybe we just hold on to it, see when game week where I really want to play some of these players, and I just activate it when we've got players that we don't really want to bench. So I don't think it's one that you really need to push out and rush. But yeah, I do see why people are using it. It's kind of a free hit wildcard kind of side that we're building just before the start, and I've toyed around with it in the past, but I've never really actually used the bench boost. I've always tried to use my chips till later on. But anyway, I'm waffling on. Let's just jump into it. So in goal, I've gone with Kelleher and Petrovic. They've both actually moved this summer. Kelleher's gone to Brentford. He'll be the number one at Brentford. As a Chelsea fan, he played against us in a few cup finals. I think he's a really good goalkeeper, and I think he'll make a lot of shot saves this season. In mid-table, maybe pushing a little bit higher. I think he's a good goalkeeper to have, and there isn't many goalkeepers when I looked at it that was 4.5 million. Obviously the 4 million goalkeepers are usually second choice, third choice and won't play. So for right now, I was thinking maybe 2 4.5 goalkeepers that are going to play, and this is what I've got in Petrovic and Gallagher. Petrovic has gone from being on loan at Strasbourg from Chelsea, and now he's the number one with Kepa going to Arsenal. I think he was the number one for Bournemouth. He did really well last season. He was good with his feet. It's either doing 4.5 goalkeeper and a 4, or 2 4.5 goalkeepers, or scrap a 4.5 keeper, get a 4.0 goalkeeper and I get a 5. But right now I think these two are really good options, and I think there's a really good switch between them. I think you can get some good changes where you can have one for one game week, change it to another. I'm not sure which one I trust right now, so it'd be good to have both and then just switch one and then switch the other and switch the other. And as you can see, Keller away against Nottingham Forest, the first game, is a little easier than Liverpool away for Petrovic, but changes that in the next game week where Petrovic has got an easier game and Brentford have got a harder game, so maybe Petrovic comes in for that one. So there was that, and there is Sarr at Wolves that's caught my eye at 4.5 million, but these two felt like a better fit to rotate, and I think Petrovic will be one of them goalkeepers that goes up in the next few weeks, and he'll be one that's highly owned before the deadline. Then into defence, I've got Wan-Bissaka, Gameweek, Guehi, Udogie and Konsa. They're all 4.5 million. I think that's very low, and I think there's a few players that obviously I've missed out on here. But I was looking at the defenders and what fixtures are really good. I usually wildcard really early on, so I was thinking maybe go really cheap on the defenders, see who does well, and then a few game weeks into the season I might buy the attacking players in Frimpong and Gabriel and Ain't Nori and Cucurella. But for right now I think the fixtures aren't that great, so 6 million is a big price to pay, and also I think they'll become better in the next few weeks than right now. And I usually wildcard, so I just want to see which ones are worth buying, so maybe go cheaper, buy the more attacking players further forward, and then when I do wildcard I can buy them top players further on down the line. So right now Wan-Bissaka, he's got some good fixtures. He did really well at the back end of the season, and at 4.5 million against Sunderland first game, I think he'll be one that is in a lot of teams. And then we've got Gameweek, and I don't really like buying players that have just been signed and coming into the Premier League, because I'm not sure how they'll transition into the Premier League, but he's been a really good attacking player the last few seasons at 4.5 million. It's worth putting him to my side for right now. I don't think he'll stay in there, but because the fixtures are pretty difficult for Brighton to start off with, so maybe he doesn't stay in the side, but right now he's in the side because I thought he was a really good pick at 4.5 million. I'm sure in the next few weeks I'll see some more. And then we've got Mark Guehi at 4.5 million away against Chelsea. Isn't the best of fixtures, but Chelsea are only playing the 2 pre-season fixtures. a week just before the season starts. They play on the Friday and the Sunday against Bayer Leverkusen and AC Milan on Friday, then Sunday at Stamford Bridge. So they've only got a week window, and I think we'll get much out of it. So Chelsea might be a little bit further behind, so Crystal Palace could do something against us, and that's me as a Chelsea fan, knowing that we've played the Club World Cup. We're still on break us while other teams are playing pre-season games. We're not going to come back to pre-season training for another week or so. So Chelsea might be a bit behind and a bit slow. So Crystal Palace at 4.5, he could be a really good option. He's getting linked to some good teams like Liverpool. If he goes to Liverpool at 4.5 million, that's a steal. If he goes to Chelsea and he becomes a Chelsea player, he could be a really good option. So 4.5 for Gay, he could be really good. And with this bonus points, he could get the tackles and the blocks where it could be viable for extra 2 points here and there, which could make him a really good asset at 4.5. I think it's helped us look at centre-backs a bit more than just buying the full-backs. And then we've got Udogie at 4.5 million. I think he's a really good option. Now they've got Thomas Frank. They've got some good fixtures. Burnley at home, first fixture. Tottenham was a bit rubbish last season, let's be honest. And that's with a smile on my face because I'm a Chelsea fan, but I think they'll be a much better side, and at 4.5 million, I think it's a really good cheap option to get. And then on my bench, we've got Concert at home against Newcastle. He's also 4.5 million. He's one where I'm sure a lot of managers that are watching this have had him in the last 2 seasons at certain points. He could get a few bonus points. So 4.5 million for an Aston Villa defender is a really good option. So he's in the side right now because the fixtures are half decent for the start, and then we'll see how he gets on in the next few weeks. Then into midfield, I've got Salah. He was the first player I bought. Every manager will be looking at and going, yeah, he's in my side at the moment, or Haaland, or how do I get both of them in? But right now, I just went with Salah. He's the main man. With new players coming in, we've got potentially going to get Ekitike in the next few days, and they've got Wirtz. So there's options like that. And if there's the price of potentially buying like an Ekitike for potentially like 9-10 million, and then you get a Wirtz for 8.5. Maybe you get them 2 instead of Salah, and then try and get 2 assets instead of 1. But Salah is Salah, and he got the most points last season, so he's in my side. Next, we've got Foden, and I'm sure a lot of managers won't be looking at him. He's not nailed into my side. I actually only had 8 million left over, and he was the last player I bought, so I bought him. There's a player like Marmoush, there's Cherky that they've just signed at 6.5 million. He's a really interesting player to potentially buy, but I just went with Foden. I think with De Bruyne leaving, he could be a really key player for them next season. I don't think he had the best of seasons last season, and his price has gone down because of that, but I think he's still a really good asset to have, and I think he could easily replicate the season that he had the season before, where he was the player of the season. Foden could get pushed further forward with Rodri back. Then we've got Cole Palmer at 10.5 million. He's the only Chelsea asset that I've bought. This is me as a Chelsea fan. I'm not sure about João Pedro. Not as a player. I think he's a really good player. He got 3 goals for us. He's done really well. I'm more worried about which players actually play in the Chelsea front line. We've got Gittins, we've got Pedro, we've got Neto, we've got Willian Estavo, we've got Liam Delap, we've got Nkunku, we've got Palmer. There's a lot of players that could play for these positions, and I think Palmer's the most nailed-on player. And then Neto, and then probably João Pedro, but João Pedro could easily play left wing and Delap play up front. So when he plays, it'll be interesting to see where João Pedro fits. Does he go onto the left-hand side? Does he play on the right-hand side? I don't think so. Neto probably on the right, and then Estavo on the right. So it's going to be interesting. And I think there's going to be a bit more rotation in that front side. We've been a bit behind other sides that have had a bit longer of pre-season. I think we'll play a bit slower to start off with. I think there'll be a bit of rotation, 60th, 70th minute. I think there'll be them attacking positions at Chelsea will be rotated. 70th minute, you can see 2-3 players coming off in the attacking positions, and players like Delap and Nkunku and Gittins and them type of players. Estavo will be coming on if it's to impact the game or to waste time and kill off a game, and rest players for Champions League matches. I think Palmer's the only one that I'm 100% nailed on that's going to play 80-90 minutes. Other players could do it, but I'm not 100% certain that one of these don't get dropped out for a while. So yeah, Palmer's in my side. And then next we've got Hudson-Odoi that's in my side. He's not nailed in. He just with Elanga going to Newcastle, I feel like for 6 million, he could be a real key player for Nottingham Forest moving forward. Maybe get more set pieces, maybe get more of the attacking goals. Yeah, becomes more of a key player for them. For 6 million, Hudson-Odoi is one that I've looked at. I don't think he'll stay in my side. And then last we've got Rodgers on the bench at 7 million. I think there's a price rise in there, but there's not a price rise where you think, oh God, he's too much for what you're going to get. I think he's going to kick on from what he did last season. Last season when he started, started, it was a bit uncertain if he'd keep playing and would he keep playing 90 minutes. But then we got assured that he would do that, and I think there's not going to be any different. The only difference is going to be if Chelsea come in or another team come in for Rodgers at a crazy price, what Aston Villa can't turn down, and they need to make some funds to buy players elsewhere. And then maybe Rodgers is somebody that comes to Chelsea, and then if he comes to Chelsea, then I might be uncertain of it. As a Chelsea fan, yes, if we pay 80, 90 million, that kind of money on Rodgers, then maybe he does start all the time, but there's a lot of attacking options at Chelsea, as I've said, so then it might not be a great option. But Aston Villa, they've got some good fixtures. I think he's the key man for Aston Villa in the attacking line. Obviously, Watkins is the main man right now up front, and then he's the main guy on the wings. Asensio is going back to PSG, I think, and Rashford's gone to Barcelona, so they've got them two that they had on loan, so Rodgers is going to be even more nailed in, so 7 million, I think is a good price. And then up front, I've got John Solanke, Bowen, and Evan Nielsen. Bowen's changed from a midfielder to a forward, and he's gone up in price to 8 million. But the fixtures that they've got West Ham is really good to start off with, and at 8 million is the key player for a West Ham side. And Potter was doing half decent with him the back end of last season, so I think he could be a good player to have for the start. And with the price of 8 million, it is high, but when you're talking about João Pedro and Chris Wood, that's 7.5. But if Bowen does well for the first few game weeks, and then he doesn't, I can drop down in price for him and then potentially move Foden up to a Verts or somebody like that. That way, I've got the money banked in my money, and I'm not really chopping and changing too much. Evan Nielsen seems to be the main guy for Bournemouth, and I think Bournemouth will have another decent season. I was looking at the Semenyo's and Kluiverts, 7 million, but I felt like Evan Nielsen may be a better option just because there's a bit of uncertainty of which one of them is going to stay around at Bournemouth. And then with the 6 that I've picked with Salah, Foden, Palmer, Hudson-Odoi, Solanke and Bowen, Evan Nielsen and Rodgers could easily come into my side when one of them players doesn't have a really good game. This is a side what's probably a bit priced on the bench with them two players, 7 million. Do I really want to spend that much money on my bench players? Because if I bring one of them into my side, yes, it might be Hudson-Odoi that's 6 million, but one of the bench players will either be a 7.5 but Solanke or an 8 million Foden Bowen. And do I really want to do that? I'm not too sure, but with the free hit wildcard bench boost triple captain that we can use in the first 19 games, maybe having a really strong bench is worth it, because you can bench boost, you can free hit if it's not looking right. And there's lots of players that I missed out, Haaland being one, all the defensive really good players like Frimpong and Gvardiol and Aït-Nouri and Cucurella and Gabriel and Saliba. There's really good options. I think there's a little bit of worry with me with the other options of Arsenal. I really like White and Timber, but I think there's a little bit of uncertainty of which one of them I'm going to start. I think I'd rather wait and see, give it 4 or 5 game weeks, see if one of them's definitely starting every week and starting and playing 90 minutes, because I don't feel like Arteta's going to drop one of them and never play them. And that's the same at left backs. Skelly played a lot of games back end of last season, but Calafiori did well, had quite a bit of money for him, so I think he's going to be getting a few chances. They've got Zinchenko, there's a few options at Arsenal in the back line, and I think with Gvardiol, I'm not too sure about him this season. Didn't have the amazing season last season, he had a good season the season before, attacking threat wise. I think that's why they bought Aït-Nouri, to get some more attacking threat down the left. So I think Aït-Nouri is going to be the main left back, and I think I'd rather spend the 6 on Aït-Nouri than Gvardiol, but we'll see. And then with Chelsea, I think they'll start off a little bit slow. I would like Cucurella, but I don't think I'll buy him yet. I think I'd wait 4 or 5 game weeks in. Maybe wait till I use my wildcard and then put some money into my defence that way. I'm happy to spend pretty cheap in defence at the moment. And last of all, I've got my mini league code of JQ6ILR. If you want to join the mini league and try and beat me, yeah, join. There's quite a few thousand that's in there, because this mini league that I've had open is been going for quite a while, so there's quite a lot of people in it. So it'd be interesting if you can try and win that one. You've done really well. Yes, this side isn't locked in, and there's going to be a few changes in the next few weeks, so let's see who stays into my side. If you've got any recommendations who I've missed out, who I haven't mentioned, get in the comment section and let me know. This isn't nailed in. I know you're going to probably watch this, somebody, and say, why are you doing a draft this early? But we're all going to be building a squad to be looking at who we can buy and tinkering around, because this is how we make sure we get a best side. We can't just make a side and it be perfect straight away. So there is going to be a lot of tinkering. But yeah, I'm going to sign off. My aim is to get 200 subscribers before the deadline comes. We're close to that. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. I'll be doing another video next week, probably when I've locked into a better side, probably, and I've ironed out a few creases and there's a few players probably gone out of my side. Goalkeeper is probably one of them that probably goes out. Probably Evan Nielsen probably go out of my side because I don't really want to spend that much money on it. Maybe Foden because I'm not sure about his minutes. Do I really want to buy him? I'd rather have somebody that's guaranteed to be playing all the time. But yeah, we will see in the next few weeks how I get on. I'm signing off and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.